this episode of Just Another Year Chicago. My name is Nick Brody. I am joined alongside my co-host and good friend London Beth. And today we are hitting on day 16 of Bears training camp. There's a lot of injury news, from some good, some bad, from the offensive side of the ball, including Teven Jenkins and Justin Fields. Yikes, but don't worry. It is not as serious as Bears fans are making it out to be. Justin did practice today, just limited. We'll get into that in a minute. Akeem Hicks and Roquan Smith are back on the defensive side of the ball, and a few other defensive starters that we've been hitting on that have been on the injury list. So good to see that, and a lot more to come from the Chicago Bears as a whole. But before we dive into everything, we'd like to thank our sponsor, Stupid Car Tray. Tired of your pizza topping sliding, office coffee distracting you while driving, grease and other stains getting on your seat, or you're just enjoying a game on the couch and don't want to lean over? Look no further than the Stupid Car Tray. Proudly USA made, Stupid Car Tray makes your passenger seat or couch a level surface for all transportation and couch potato needs. With accessories like the Stupid Seat Anchor, hand sanitizer bottle, or 100% silicone grip mat, your tray is the ultimate car organizer. With over 20 different color combinations, there's a Stupid Car Tray for everyone. Visit www.stupidcartray.com and use discount code J16 to get 16% off your entire order. Link in the description.
Nick, I got a Stupid Car Tray and I use it on a daily basis. If you're a Bears fan, go get one. Let's get into it.
Let's get into it. All right, starting on the offense, Teven Jenkins is going to be our first topic of today. Teven Jenkins officially will be going under back surgery, according to Matt Nagy this morning. There is no extent to exactly what the surgery is fixing, but Matt Nagy said our goal is to have him back this season. Matt Nagy has never been one with the press in order to get into injury updates of how serious things are. So he's trying to put a positive spin on things, but in all honesty, positive thoughts for Jenkins right now. Bears Twitter has been blowing up lately in a very disrespectful way, saying that Jenkins is a bust, Pace made a mistake. You know, how rude and inconsiderate of the fact that this guy is injured. He's a rookie and people are hating on him because his body is unfortunately not in good shape right now. And it's not his fault. Teven Jenkins didn't wake up today like, I don't want to play football. I want to make everyone upset. He wanted to be an NFL athlete. He wanted to be a starter. He wanted to make immediate impact for the Chicago Bears. And he said that in the offseason. So please, please, please give good thoughts and prayers for a speedy recovery and a successful surgery for Teven Jenkins, and no negativity thoughts, because that's going to not, what good is that going to do for Teven Jenkins and the Bears fan base as a whole? On that note, though, Jason Peters still cannot practice, the new offensive lineman that we picked up in free agency. We signed him to up to a $1.65 million contract with incentives and with a $400,000 signing bonus, just to confirm that. But he still cannot practice due to still going through COVID protocol. So hopefully tomorrow he'll be fully padded up and ready to take that left tackle position and bring that veteran leadership and help protect Justin Fields and Andy Dalton. Now let's go to Justin Fields. Justin Fields was given limited reps today as he is dealing with groin soreness. It's not a tear. It's nothing too serious. He just feels that he's a little bit off today. He brought that up to coaches this morning before training camp, and they're being very conservative with Justin Fields, and they kept him to limited reps. No 11 on 11, no 7 on 7. He didn't do anything crazy, but he was involved in throwing drills, and he also was involved in the new bucket toss, I guess, that the Bears are doing today. He's the first person to hit the bucket on a dime in the backcourt of an end zone from 30 yards out. It was very exciting, and he was the first quarterback out of the three to do it. So hopefully the injury bug gets out of Justin Fields quickly, but again, they want him to be prepared for this upcoming Saturday against the Buffalo Bills, as they do want him to get a lot of reps. Now, good news, James Daniels is back. James Daniels is officially back on the offensive line. That is making 3 of our 5 initial starters back. So James Daniels, Sam Mustipher, and Cody Whitehair will be taking over the interior. James Daniels had a great practice, according to Matt Nagy. He did have a press conference right after practice today that ended not even 15 minutes ago. James Daniels says, I feel good. I'm happy that I took the time to heal up, and I'm ready to go this Saturday. So we'll see James Daniels this Saturday against the Buffalo Bills. Hopefully that helps with the Bears offensive line, though they didn't do too bad against Miami. But this is huge, as Daniels is a key part of the interior offensive line. One more quick injury we want to hit on today, nothing serious, is that Cole Kmet sat out today, or was limited reps. He sat out of 11 on 11 and 7 on 7, but was given limited preps for certain drills because he has hamstring soreness. So take your time to heal, Kmet. We need you this year. Also, we have Jesse James ripping it up, and Jesper Holstead, who we'll get to in a sec, absolutely went ballistic today. Took advantage of Jimmy Graham on his veteran off day, and Kmet sitting out most of the day. So London, That was a lot of information before we get into more of the good on the offense. How do you feel with them being conservative with Justin Fields and Cole Kmet? Would you even play them this Saturday against the Bills, or do you kind of just, back off and be like, hey, the season's more important than preseason?
Yeah, Nick, Justin Fields, yes, he needs to play. Okay.
Okay.
It just is what it is. He needs to get as many reps. And I think a lot of teams, and I'll just kind of pick on the Green Bay Packers a little bit. They have a huge issue where they, didn't play, Jordan Love at all in the last preseason that he was available to. He was just kind of, the white buffalo, the Bigfoot that nobody had seen. Nobody knew what he was. And I think in today's NFL, I really think that's the wrong way to go with the young quarterbacks. I think this is the time preseason against first, second, and third team to see a lot of different kinds of athletes out on the field that Justin Fields needs to take advantage. He needs to be out there. Having a little groin tightness is not a huge thing. This guy is an absolute apex athlete. He keeps his body in absolutely phenomenal shape. I have no issue, him stepping on the field in a couple days on Saturday. And also, I want to see him tear it up. I want to see him put it to Mitchell Trubisky for, Trubisky's comments that he had. So with Justin Fields, absolutely 100%. He needs as many reps as humanly possible. Flip side, Cole Kmet, no. I mean, we know what Cole Kmet is. We know he's going to be our number one tight end. Does he really need the reps in preseason? No. He played a full NFL season last season. So no, I think if Cole Kmet continues to have some hamstring tightness, which is a very common thing, especially during these like kind of warmer, humid summer days, I don't. I mean, if he's 100% ready to go, wants to take 2 or 3, drives and stuff like that, sure. But Jimmy Graham, Jesse James, see what you have in those guys, see what you have in Jesse James, and let, Jimmy Graham go out there, a little bit and play. So, I mean, with Cole Kmet, no, but with Justin Fields, absolutely. He needs to be on the field as much as humanly possible.
I totally agree with that. And it helps also with the coaches determining the true depth at tight end. And if they need to have 3 tight ends on the roster or 4, because Jesper Holstead absolutely ripped it up. We're going to get into that in 1 second in the good from the offense, but great takes on, and I want Justin Fields to play, considering that I'm going on Saturday to see him rip it up.
You don't want to watch Nick Foles the whole time.
I do not. I'm excited to see Andy Dalton as well. I know he had some comments after practice today that you're going to hit on in a little bit, but I do want to see Fields really do well. Also, he's going to get a lot more repetition with the first stringers, so more to come on that. Now, I agree with Kmet as well. I think we're good to go. And also, before we get into the rest, please make sure to follow us on Instagram. Our handle is below. Tony and I will be at the game this Saturday. We're going to be trying to meet up with a few fans, and hey, we might buy you some beer. First 2 people to find us is very exciting. London will also be FaceTiming and chugging a beer as well. So stay tuned for that. Follow us on Instagram and look out for updates starting on Friday. Now let's go into the good of the offense. Daz Newsome outshined Javon Wims and Riley Ridley, and it looks like he is for sure going to take that roster spot. Daz Newsome did sign with the Chicago Bears this offseason. He has a legitimate NFL contract, but in all seriousness, he is outplaying them. He blew off Javon Wims' doors today. And going on Javon Wims real fast, that's kind of the bad of the offense. We might as well just head on it now, but he was seen on the sideline a lot with his helmet off, not involved in as many drills. And the times that he did have the opportunity to make a play, dropped it. A lot of times from Andy Dalton and Nick Foles, even a couple practice throws with Justin Fields. Javon Wims did not look good today. He's not making a good case for himself to stay on this NFL roster. So more to come with that. I'm not trying to sound like Matt Nagy or anything, but I mean, London and I have been saying, and we said it in yesterday's podcast, it looks like his time in Chicago may be coming to an end. But let's go more into the good. Jesse James absolutely continues to impress. With Jimmy Graham out today, Cole Kmet out today, he took full advantage of being TE1, and he did really well. He had a nice couple one-handed grabs. I know we had a couple people wondering, is he a blocking tight end? Jesse James can block. There's no doubt about it. He's definitely not as physical as a blocking tight end as Jimmy Graham or Cole Kmet, but he's more of a, I'm more of a receiving tight end. He's not as strong as a blocking tight end. Why he'll be TE3 on this roster. But overall, just want to answer that question that was posted in the last podcast comments. So please, if you have any questions for us, we're more than happy to answer it in the upcoming podcast. Really good day for Jesse James. So again, it looks like he is for sure going to make this roster. And then Marquise Goodwin. What a day. He blew off Jalen Johnson's doors. He blew off Kendall Vildor's doors, Artie Burns' doors. I mean, he was all over the field making nice one-handed grabs. And he didn't even need to make one-handed grabs. I think he was just being flashy and a show-off today. He kind of had the mojo flowing on this Wednesday. So good to hear that from Marquise Goodwin. And he is wide receiver number 3 on this roster. Looks like a for-sure lock as well. So good to see that, especially the veteran leadership. And another deep ball threat along with Darnell Mooney. That's dangerous. Good. Very excited to see that. Now, before we get into Andy Dalton, Jesper Holstead, who has been on the Chicago Bears, he's a tight end fighting for a roster spot, had an unbelievable day. I like that a few people were like Travis Kelce 2.0. The guy had 5 catching touchdowns within like a half an hour. He was ripping up the defense. He's definitely fighting for a spot, and he made his voice known. So I think that either he's going to be a special teams guy coming up this season, London, you can testify to that as well. But it looks like he's probably going to be on special teams. Or if the Bears end up going with 4 tight ends, he's definitely going to be that guy. And it's one practice. He needs to keep this up, but he's definitely impressing at camp. So talking to the guy that threw him all those touchdowns was Andy Dalton. And Andy Dalton had a very strong camp today, was very accurate on the throw. He looked much more comfortable in the pocket than usual. Having James Daniels back is huge. But London, there was a couple comments after practice today that kind of threw Bears Twitter into a swirl in regards to Andy Dalton. So Andy Dalton is the week 1 starter as of right now. But it seems like he thinks there's more to that. And he thinks that no matter how things go, this is still his team. So London, jump into that, because kind of crazy that he's already making these very, very confident comments after Matt Nagy is not ruling out Justin Fields starting week 1.
Yeah, Nick. Today after training camp, all the the players, the selective players that went on to the Facebook Live and did their press conferences, Andy Dalton was one of them. Now, I've heard that the struggles from yesterday and so on and so forth were due to, on the offensive side, and Matt Nagy getting upset, were due to new installments of deeper parts into the playbook. And it was, so I understand why those struggles happened. I remember those. With Andy Dalton today, it seemed like he picked up the playbook really well. It seemed like he had a really, really, really awesome day. And I think he was kind of just tired of hearing this whole, hey, Justin Fields should be week 1 from, ESPN and all these other people, which I completely disagree with. I don't think Justin Fields should be the week 1 starter. And He blatantly said Justin Fields is a great guy. He's going to have an absolutely phenomenal NFL career. But as of right now, this is my time. This is my team. I am the starting quarterback. And it kind of put a lot of people in the loop. They kind of started comparing him to, when Mike Glennon said that, and, all this other kinds of stuff. And they started just trolling the heck out of him. And even some pretty diehard Bears fans even started trolling him. And listen, I'm going to say this. If you are a Chicago Bears fan who understands how the NFL runs, this is exactly what you want Andy Dalton's mentality, but also exactly what you want him to be saying, because he is following exactly what the protocol should be. He's the starter right now. He is the $10 million one-year man that is going to make this team feasible enough to win games until Justin Fields is properly ready to take the reins and take us to the promised land. So anybody out there that has any hardships towards this, or if it blows up on Twitter even more, you need to just be quiet. This is exactly what you want to hear from Andy Dalton. If he was a veteran and being like, oh, I don't know, maybe it's Justin Fields' time, you might as well cut him. So
you might as well cut him. What are you paying him for? What are you paying him for?
Why are you paying him? Exactly.
Everyone should be 100% fighting for their roster spots. There's no doubt about it. And Andy Dalton, again, we've said it, through the mentorship, through the veteran experience, through being a better quarterback as of right now and a game manager for the Chicago Bears. Sure, Justin Fields could be much more athletic. He's faster with his feet. He's able to make more plays for himself. But Andy Dalton can also do that. And I think a lot of Bears fans get away from that. And I understand that this is a very exciting time, but you have to take a step back and know what's best for the team. Andy Dalton's week 1 starter. And yes, if it goes bad, like Mike Glennon bad, throw Fields out there if he's ready. Other than that, back off, just pump the brakes a little bit. And yes, I agree with Andy Dalton's comments as well. This is his team at the moment. Justin Fields' time will come in the NFL. So quickly to the bad, minus all the injuries, the really bad from the offense today was Riley Ridley and Javon Wims. Multiple drops, not good. It started, they make really cool catches, but then they drop the next 3. So London, how quickly should the Bears or could the Bears cut Riley Ridley and Javon Wims?
I think it's going to be by the next two cuts is where they're going to start to disappear. Because, I mean, like you said, I mean, there's some wide receivers that are also being cut from other teams that we could possibly pick up and see what happens. I don't think they make this roster. The biggest thing, you can make all the flashy catches in the entire world. It's those silly 5-yard out routes that you toe tap that you should just do as a professional athlete over and over again that they're just not doing. Those wide open catches that you don't take your eyes off of. Those are the stuff that they're blatantly dropping. Cool. You have great one-handed catch. When you're in an NFL game against NFL corners, you got to make the easy, catches when they're available to you. They're clearly not doing that. So honestly, I expect at least to the next two roster cuts, both of them to be gone out of the Chicago Bears, and us maybe bring somebody else in. Or I'm okay with what our wide receiver room is looking like due to Daz Newsome, the rookie, stepping up.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Let the young guys play. Let them go crazy. And if Javon Wims and Bradley Ridley do not want to work as hard as them, they can go take their talents somewhere else. So let's jump to the defense really fast. Not too many updates today. It was really offensive focused day, especially after yesterday's performance. Akeem Hicks was back on the field today, practicing, keeping the situation that happened yesterday private. For those who don't know, Akeem Hicks kind of left the field very unexpectedly right after stretches. Matt Nagy was involved. The head trainer was involved. People running around going, what's going on? But Akeem Hicks was here today. Akeem Hicks did not comment on it. Matt Nagy did not comment on it. Said no update. He's here. That's all that matters. Love the respect that Nagy did here in regard because it wasn't injury related. He kept it a private, personal matter. So good to see Hicks back on the field. He had a great practice today as well, pumping up fans, getting involved. Good to see that from the leader of our defensive line. Roquan Smith and Robert Quinn both returned to practice today. Roquan Smith was out due to a slight groin tweak last week. He is back. He will be playing this Saturday as of right now. Good to see him go back on the field today with his teammates. And Robert Quinn is also back from a back injury. Was a little bit more on the limited side today, but good to see him back as well, as the Bears need him to bring that presence. And also he needs to start making that money. Now, then again, another guy who makes a lot of money, Khalil Mack, had the day off today due to the veteran via Brad Briggs. This was Matt Nagy's decision, give him a Veterans Day off. Totally agree with that. Khalil Mack was around practice, hanging out, but he wasn't getting all sweaty, dirty. Definitely was getting, loosening up, feeling good. And Mack needs that, especially if he's going to be healthy all year. It's great to see Khalil Mack doing as well as he's doing right now. And this was a good day for Travis Gibson and Charles Snowden in regards to Mack not being there and Quinn still getting limited reps, because Charles Snowden is fighting for a roster spot, undrafted rookie free agent. And Travis Gibson, who had a very rough game against Miami, is looking to get bounced back against the Bills this upcoming weekend. So both of them have chances to put in work, even though Matt Nagy says that starters will get more reps this upcoming weekend, which is very exciting. Last update on people that were out. Eddie Goldman is back on the injury list due to back soreness. There is nothing to be concerned about. Bears players are even saying Eddie's fine. Just one of those days you wake up on the wrong side of the bed, got a little back tweak. And again, his body is not used to this. He had a whole year off, so give him a little bit of a break. Now, the good that came out of the defense, really nothing bad besides the injuries. But the good is that Artie Burns had another really good practice today. That's his second good practice this week. Not trying to sound like Matt Nagy last year, but in regards to that, it's good to see that the veteran first-round pick from Miami is starting to live up to expectations. The Bears did re-sign him after he tore his ACL last year. They took another chance on him, and he's taking full advantage of it. So I think that Artie Burns has a decent shot to start this upcoming weekend, but Kendall Vildor still has a very good shot at becoming the other starting cornerback. So stay tuned for that. And Jordan Lucas, who opted out last year due to COVID-19, had a strong day as well with an interception. So London, kind of want to get into the defense really fast with you. In regards to the Eddie Goldman status and the Robert Quinn status, how important are these two guys being on the field at all times? And if these veterans who are proven in the NFL, do you think that they should sit out this weekend just to make sure that their bodies are fully healed up, ready to go for the regular season?
Yeah, Nick, I totally agree with you. I think the best part about everything to do with our defense is if you can look on our script here, I would love to just add some cricket chirps on the bad.
Yeah.
Because there's just nothing there.
There's nothing
it's
there.
really there's just nothing there. It's really, really awesome that the players are starting to return. Akeem Hicks must have had something going on, but he's still he's still there. He's still dominating. It was great to see Roquan Smith and Robert Quinn get back on the field. Of course, I'm a little bit more excited to see Roro back on the field just because I think he is the leader of this defense, and is one of the more vocal leaders of this defense, especially because the middle linebacker is the one that brings in the plays. When it comes to Khalil Mack and stuff, yes. I mean, LeBron James takes days off, and Khalil Mack is our LeBron James. So I will gladly, if he has a Veterans Day off, take that day off. I really don't expect Khalil Mack, Akeem Hicks, even Roquan, and honestly, probably even Robert Quinn to get a ton of reps this coming up weekend. And I don't really want them to. I don't think it's needed. I think this defense is going to be absolutely elite. So let's make sure that they stay healthy, including, Eddie Goldman. Let's make sure that they stay healthy, they stay hydrated, and they're ready to rock and roll. But like you said, that's going to open the door for guys like Artie Burns, for Charles Snowden, and Jordan Lucas, who opted out last year. That's going to open the doors for these guys to get a lot more playing time. I expect, just like I preached to Daz Newsome, and he seems to be doing that. Listen, the door is open, gentlemen. You're going to get a lot more playing time in this preseason game and the next one than you probably even thought you did. Take full advantage.
Absolutely. Totally agree. And it's going to be exciting to see them take on the Bills this upcoming weekend. We will have a full game, our pregame recap posted this Friday. So stay tuned for that. And then quickly, players that are in injuries. Teven Jenkins out. Will be getting back surgery. Time back unknown. Justin Fields, groin injury. Ryan Knoll had a chest injury. Badera Traore, who got injured yesterday, still is fighting that knee injury. Kmet with a hamstring tightness. Eddie Goldman with back soreness. Josh Woods with a quad injury. Trey Robinson with a knee injury. And then Jermaine Ifedi and Tariq Cohen are both out on the physically unable to perform list. So that is day 16. The banged up Bears still made good out of a bad day. So very good to see that in regards to, from a fan's perspective. Stay tuned as we will bring you more updates on our Twitter, Instagram, and of course on YouTube in regards to Bears training camp. And we thank you very much for joining us for this episode of Just Another Year Chicago. My name is Nick Rohde, joined alongside London Beth, and we will see you guys next time.